Hello everybody and welcome to your Alpha Live broadcast of round 7 of the 2024 Rally Replay SuperOne Series, coming to you live from Fulbeck Kart Circuit in Lincolnshire, a few miles north of Grantham, a few miles south-east of Newark-on-Trent. My name is Howard Mitchell, I'm from Double Dash Motorsport Media, and it's my pleasure and privilege to be in the comms position for you here today to talk you through all of the action for round 8, round 7 was yesterday. We will have reaction from round 7. Round 8 is today. It's the even numbered rounds on the Sunday, Howard. And yes, there is a slight threat of rain here at this Fulbeck circuit in Lincolnshire. Old school circuit this, high speed, can be a bit difficult to do an overtake on. Going to be an interesting challenge for the drivers here today, but it's a fantastic venue, and we are looking ahead to get ready for the first of our heats today in round 8, as it is. Reaction from round 7 coming for you in the lunch break. Let's look ahead to heat 1, which is going to be for our Bambino C50 class. So here we are looking at the circuit here, 940 metres long circuit, one of the shorter laps that we go to. Let's have a look at our grid for the first race of the day. The front row is made up of the two young men who come into today, first and second in the championship standings as well, getting into the second half of the season as we are here. Logan Hodgett's on pole then with Noah Wicklow alongside Will Wainwright, who took the win here yesterday for round 7 in the trophy final. On third place on the grid, Henry Hales alongside him. Ernie Wade and Benjamin Schlivar are next on row number 3. Then it's Hendrix Fallat and Jesse Bailey, Ollie West and Arthur Bowers to round out your top 10. Arlo Gamble and Jax Wong are on row 6, with row 7 occupied by Rafe Owen and John Stevens. Cole Parrish and Alex Marshall on row 8. Teddy Welsh and Max Armitt are on row 9. Then it's Jackson Foots and Calman Simon and Freddie Walker rounding out your 21 kart grid for this one. So yes, indeed, we are getting ready for round 8. As I say, I'll try and tell you what the standings are, or the situations are in the championships, and indeed how things went yesterday for round 7. The odd-numbered rounds for Rally Replay SuperOne, not streamed, but we are able to get, or each time we have been getting, I should say, the drivers' reactions after the presentation. So we'll be hearing from our class winners from yesterday. That will be in the lunch break. Also, just before we get going with this, as they do get going, shout out to David Sullivan in the comms position covering for me for Clay Pigeon, which was round number 6. And that round took us to the halfway point. It's a 12-round championship here in Rally Replay SuperOne. And as a reminder, all of the championship scores, the final standings, are determined by taking drop scores. So the worst 2 rounds that drivers have will be deducted from their championship score. That could be because they've had 2 poor rounds, if they've turned up to all of the rounds throughout the season. It could be that they've missed certain rounds, and that will count as one of their drop scores. Standing start then, of course, for our Bambino C50s at this Fulbeck circuit. Bear in mind they will not take the first chicane on this first lap. Away we go then for racing here. Logan Hodgetts leads them away in the number 74, but it's a great start from Noah Wicklow from second on the grid and immediately jumps into the lead as they head down towards the hairpin, which will be turned to on any other lap. They pass through the chicane there for the first lap. You'll see that throughout the day, and into the hairpin at turn 2 they go for the first time in racing anger today. Heading now towards chicane number 2 as it is. Little kink in the straight there, and then turn in here to this little bus stop chicane here at 2. As you can see there, a great start there by Noah Wicklow in the 53 to now be ahead of Hodgetts in the 74. Through the left-hand sweeper then at 5, and then into the hairpin at turn 6. Here they go. Benjamin Schlivar, it looks to me, holding position, or perhaps has gained one on this first lap. He's under pressure though from Henry Hales, so Schlivar has got by on Hales in the first half of this lap, but can he hang on to that around this latter part of the lap? They're still fighting as they come out of this boot-shaped section and through the final turn. At the end of lap 1 then, it is Wicklow who leads, Hodgetts in second, then it's Wainwright, Ernie Wade, Benjamin Schlivar under pressure from Henry Hales, and here for the first time you can see them taking that first chicane. That's bypassed on the first lap of each race. That's to make sure the starts stay nice and clean. You've got this breakaway group of 4 now then. Wicklow, Hodgetts, Wainwright and Wade. And then we saw in the latter part of the last lap, Schlivar, Hales and West, and Hendricks Fallat in fact as well, all battling quite closely. So 2 groups of 4 effectively in the top 8. Don't forget these heats, 7 minutes plus a lap. We'll have 2 rotations of heats. So this is the first of 2 heats that we'll see from the Bambino C50s before we get into the all-important trophy finals later on today. Those will be 9 minutes in length plus a lap. Through this lower part of the lap then, last sector through the left-hand sweeper, and another little bit of the straight that's not quite straight to end this lap at Fulbeck. Fantastic trap this one. And the top 4 at the moment working well together, I'd say, just to branch the gap slightly to the rest of the field. Further down the order, though, you can see Henry Hales has got by on Benjamin Schlivar, so the number 57 plate now ahead of the BM plate. Further down the order as well, Jax Wong has got by on John Stevens, that's for 12th. And is Hodgetts beginning to think, just taking slightly different lines here, perhaps just trying to suss out where the opportunities might be later on in this heat race. This is what it's all about. A lot of people, it's very easy to think that a sprint race is going to just be all out fighting all the time, but there is definitely a tactical element to sprint racing. It's about knowing when to attack, how to stay in touch with the cart ahead of you. Here is now Henry Hales ahead of Benjamin Schlivar. And then that's a little bit further back. Ollie West, Hendricks Fallat and Arthur Bowers as well has got involved with them as well. And look, more battling here between Schlivar and Hales. Schlivar putting an attempt here to regain the 5th place that he got on the first lap, but Hales is going to sweep round the outside. That's nicely controlled situation there from Hales, because that was a very earnest attack there from Schlivar. But Hales just held authority round the outside into turn 2 and managed to retain that position for now. And you can see Arthur Bowers in the 99 kart getting onto the back now of Hendrix Fallat in the 15 at the back of this train. So it's sort of a train of 5 karts now rather than the 4 it was at the start. Then there is Arlo Gamble in the 72 and Jesse Bailey you just saw. They are in 10th and 11th at the moment. Back with the battle for 5th place. Henry Hales and Benjamin Schlivar. Through the final corner they come. Don't forget championship points counting as well. Obviously the main thing with the heats is determining who's going to be what order they'll line up in for the trophy final. I'm just trying to double check. Ernie Wade seems to have dropped off the back of this group of 3 at the front. Indeed, you can see there the just in the background the number 11 kart starting to fall back towards. Well, I wonder if he had a mistake last lap because he lost some 1.2 seconds last lap to Will Wainwright in 3rd, which is a little unlike Ernie. So maybe just a little bit of an unforced error, or perhaps an attempt to overtake that didn't go his way. And you can see now in the background there. So we now before I said we had groups of 4, we've now got a group of 3 at the front, and what's becoming a group of 6 really behind them, as there's just under 2 minutes plus a lap to go. And there already, Henry Hales has taken the opportunity, the 57 by on the 11 now. So Henry Hales is through on Ernie Wade. So we look at them again. In fact, again, they've sort of grouped off into a 3, haven't they? Have Hales, Wade and Schlivar. And then another group of 3 behind them, that being Ollie West, Arthur Bowers and Hendrix Fallat. So Arthur Bowers there has got by on Hendrix Fallat, so that's a change for 8th place that's occurred on that last lap. Schlivar taking a slightly wider line in to try and optimise the exit perhaps to apply pressure to the 11 of Ernie Wade. Through the hairpin at turn 6 they come. And into this boot-shaped section, going sort of around the toe now, into the heel. And then this sweeping left-hander that completes the lap of this Fulbeck kart circuit. And here we can see once again an attempt being made for the lead. Logan Hodgetts there having a look to the inside of Noah Wicklow. Is he going to try now into turn 2? He's alongside, he's up the inside. Can he hold off a counter-attack on corner exit? He can for now, and that is Logan Hodgetts very neatly to the head of the field with a nice pass there into turn 2. Feels the need to perhaps go a little bit defensive into this second chicane just to deter any counter move. And he continues to go defensive through this sweeper at 5. Is that going to give Wicklow a chance into turn 6 hairpin? It is going to give him an opportunity. Bit of a dive bomb there from Noah Wicklow, and that's a nice retake of the lead there from the driver of the number 53 kart. Will Wainwright in 3rd place there in the 21, still saying very much a part of this. He'll be ready to pounce should the opportunity arise. Clock has hit 0 though. Last lap board is out. Who's going to take this first race of the day? These 3 young drivers have kept each other extremely honest. Are they both going to go in attack and defence? Will that give an opportunity to Will Wainwright? This is where Hodgetts made a challenge a lap ago, and Wicklow remembers it well. He goes defensive into turn number 2. Heading towards chicane 2 now. Should say, by the way, Jesse Bailey got by an Arlo Gamble last lap. That's for 10th place. So Bailey now up into the top 10 as our top 3 come through chicane number 2 for the last time in this first heat of the day. Through the sweeper at turn 5 and heading towards turn 6. Staying as they were for now. If anything, Wainwright is closer to the tail of Hodgetts than Hodgetts is to Wicklow at this point. Into the final complex of the race through the toe of the boot. And I think it's just a case of Wicklow bringing it home now to take the checkered flag. Noah Wicklow takes the first win of the day in Bambino C50. Logan Hodgetts finishes 2nd. Will Wainwright in 3rd. Henry Hales in 4th, ahead of Ernie Wade in 5th. Benjamin Schlivar in 6th, Ollie West in 7th, Arthur Bowers in 8th, 9th for Hendrix Fallat, and rounding out your top 10 is Jesse Bailey with that move on the penultimate lap to get by on Arlo Gamble. That's how they line up then for Bambino C50. And to do a bit of housekeeping whilst we're going through these, don't forget you can head to results.alphatiming.co.uk and click on Super One and see confirmed results for all of the races today. Results.alphatiming.co.uk, click on Super One. You can see all of the results as well as the grids for races yet to come. That was our first race of the day then. Coming up next, we are going to have our first heat for Honda Cadet GX200. Let's take a look at your grid then for Heat 1 of Honda Cadet GX200 class here today at Fulbeck. Cian Sullivan starts this one from pole with Shailen Srikantan alongside. Luke McGall and Sebastian Burlington are on row 2 with Charlie Quine and Denno Rowlands on row 3. Row 4 is where we find Ryan White, who took the trophy win yesterday here in round 7. Archie Cannon alongside him. Peter Webster and Charlie Gregg round out the top 10 with Jack White and Noah Clare on row 6. Row 7 is where we find Jayan Prakash and Eddie Duncan. Freddie Drury and Daniel Hulse are next with Ollie Knox and Eloisa Burlington on row number 9. And the 19 kart grid is rounded out on row 10 by Ricky Jr. McIntosh. There we go. 19 karts. They kept me in suspense then on the grid. That's how they line up for the 19 kart race for this first heat. 7 minutes plus a lap, remember, of Honda Cadet's GX200. There they are with the notably yellow number plates with the red numbers. That tells you that we're looking at Honda Cadets, one of the most well-known classes of karting in the British Isles. Everyone's familiar with Honda Cadets, and it provides great racing. Little look to what Mother Nature might have in store for us. This is basically what we had yesterday at the track, with some fairly ominous clouds rolling in and occasionally choosing to open up on us. I have to say, we were obviously doing some setup work for the broadcast yesterday, and the heavens did choose to open on us at fairly short notice and fairly to quite a heavy extent at certain times. So it is definitely something we will be keeping an eye on. Some forecasts suggesting that we might be due rain at around 12 at around midday, so that's in about an hour and a half's time. But yeah, to run you through the schedule in a bit more detail, we're obviously now going through our first round of heats. Each class will contest one heat, not just to determine their best position on the grid for the trophy final, but also 34 championship points on offer to whoever wins that, and so on and so forth down the order. And then we'll get to the end of our first heats, projected to get to the end of our first heats around about midday. We'll probably conclude the last of our Heat 1 races. Then there'll be a lunch break of around about 45 minutes. During that time, we'll bring you those interviews that we had from our class winners, our victorious drivers from round 7 yesterday, ahead of today's round 8. Interesting to hear from them. Interesting to talk to some of them about just how the season's going in general. We are now in that second half of the season, so maybe a time when we start to turn our attention to how these championship battles might be lining up. So indeed, that will go from about midday to 12:45. Then there'll be the drivers' parade as well as part of that. In fact, sorry, that's not quite the right order. There will be the drivers' parade, and then we will probably move into the interviews that we filmed yesterday. And then we'll head into Heat 2 for each class. Heat 2 will kick off around about 12:45, and then we should be ready to go with the trophy finals at around 2 this afternoon. So racing Heat 1 through to midday. Heat 2 will start about 12:45, trophy finals around about 2:25. That's your rough schedule for the day. Here though, we're not worrying about schedules, we're worrying about the race. Cian Sullivan in the 26 kart gets ready to lead them away for heat number 1. Away we go then for round 8 in Honda Cadets, heading towards what will be turn 1 for this first lap. Cian Sullivan goes on, there's contact in the mid-pack, and that's round for Eddie Duncan, I believe that was, going off to driver's left. Round the hairpin then for this first lap. It otherwise looks fairly clean there. But yeah, contact towards the back of the pack, and I'm pretty sure that was the 57 of Duncan we saw taking the spin and heading up onto the grass, banking backwards. But he seems okay and has resumed running, I can see out of the window, albeit now very much on a recovery drive. There was Ricky Junior McIntosh in the 14, who seems to have made quite a few positions on this first lap. It's still Cian Sullivan though at the head of the field here in the 26 as they come round to finish lap number 1. There is Charlie Gregg in the number 6 battling away. At the end of lap number 1 though, it is Cian Sullivan who leads, Luke McGall in 2nd, Sebastian Burlington in 3rd, and it was Ricky McIntosh we saw making a lot of moves from the back of the grid, 19th to 11th in 1 lap, so that was a great start there. And that's a nice little move there by Ryan White on Charlie Gregg. Ryan White, the winner of the trophy final yet in our interviews as they all peel through chicane 2. And another move here by Ryan White, this time on Charlie Quine in the IAME plate kart. Through the turn 6 hairpin, and you get the impression that Ryan White is a young man on a mission here. Through the final corner and on to a new lap of this 940-metre Fulbeck circuit. Into chicane number 1 they go now. And Quine under pressure again from Charlie Gregg this time. And Charlie Gregg down the inside. And Ricky McIntosh is going to look to follow through as well, and does so. That's Quine down to 9th place. And now McIntosh on the move there against Gregg, who he just followed through in that move. And he's got that job done as well. So some really nice moves here, as I think that was Peter Webster trying to find a way by. And Denno Rowlands is in the number 11 as well, trying to capitalise on this. They're all holding each other up as they battle and giving a sniff of an opportunity to whoever's behind at the time. So they've all sorted themselves back out into single file in this part of the lap. Let's call the order as they come through this time then. Sullivan leads, McGall in 2nd, Archie Cannon in 3rd, Sebastian Burlington in 4th, ahead of Shailen Shrikanthan. And then it's Ryan White in 6th place with the fastest lap of the race to boot. There is the 83 of Jack Wykes there on the tail of Charlie Quine and Charlie Gregg. Charlie Gregg running in 8th, so this is the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th place battle basically. It's quite a train of karts this one, as is customary in Honda Cadets. And there is the look into turn 6 from Jack Wykes in the 83, and I think that was job done against Charlie Quine there. Yep, indeed it was. And what's more, I think Peter Webster followed through as well. Yes, he did. The 25 ahead of the IAM there. There is Peter Webster in the white race suit, now ahead of the Isle of Man plated Charlie Quine. 0.6 of a second the gap at the front of the field that Cian Sullivan has in hand, as Charlie Quine has a look and a counter move back at Webster into turn 2, and he does make it stick. And there is Denno Rowland in the number 11 trying to come through as well. Through goes Rowland, so that is a lovely move for the driver in the number 11. And it's J.M. Prakash, the driver in the 44 at the back of this pack as well, looking to find an opportunity. Through this boot section they come. You can see battles going on as well. There is a battle, that's exactly the one I was thinking of. Ricky Junior McIntosh going through on the 33 of Shailen Srikantan. That is a move for 6th place through chicane number 1. So Ricky Junior McIntosh has been on a charge. I'm not sure what happened in qualifying for him that he found himself at the back of the grid, as there's more battling here into chicane 2 between Srikantan and the number 14, and that was briefly Srikantan back ahead. And Ricky Junior McIntosh throws a move down the inside of hairpin at turn number 6. To the boot section comes this battle as well, but here we go. Srikantan is still behind Ricky Junior McIntosh at the end of this one, so that is job done for Ricky Junior McIntosh in terms of obtaining 6th place, but he had to fight for that one. Make no mistake about that. Srikantan will try and stay with him in this number 33 kart. Here's your lead battle. Cian Sullivan leading Luke McGall, who's been keeping him honest throughout proceedings here. They're 1.5 seconds to the good ahead of Archie Cannon and Sebastian Burlington, whom Ryan White is gradually catching up to. There's 3rd and 4th. There you can see Ryan White starting to apply pressure. And then came Ricky Junior McIntosh and Shailen Srikantan, the two that we had been watching the battle of a lap or so ago. Still a couple of laps to go here. At least a couple, in fact. They may cross the line. That's going to be tight, actually, for whether it's 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Here is Archie Cannon in that number 42 kart. Sebastian Burlington on his tail. These two have been keeping themselves honest as well throughout proceedings. Heading into chicane 2 now. Ryan White beginning to ramp up the pressure as well on these two. Through into the boot section they come once again on what is lap number 8 of this one. And it's not the last lap board this time around, so there's still 2 more to go here. It's Cian Sullivan in the 26 leads Luke McGall. Quick look over the shoulder from TW Racing driver of Cian Sullivan. See whether there is a threat on here. This is a move though into the chicane. That is a move. Oh, no, it's not, sorry. It's Ryan White still behind Burlington, but putting a lot of pressure on Sebastian Burlington right now. 22 leads the 47 through. Coming around to start the final lap, though, now is Cian Sullivan. Does Luke McGall have an attack in hand, as there's a battle opening up behind them? You can see they're going into the chicane in the background. Archie Cannon's got a bit of breathing space, but Sebastian Burlington has all sorts of pressure from behind from Ryan White and Ricky Junior McIntosh. White and McIntosh, these two drivers who we've seen make so much progress up the order in this one. Meanwhile at chicane 2, Luke McGall still keeping his powder dry for now. Will he feel that he has the confidence into 6th? There is Cannon, and then there is now up into 4th place Ryan White. Sebastian Burlington has a look to counter-attack, but if that doesn't pay off, and will it leave him subject to attack from Ricky Junior McIntosh? We look back ahead at our leaders, but you can see them battling as they come into the boot section. Cian Sullivan has controlled this race beautifully and will come home to take the win for heat number 1 for Honda Cadet GX200 today. Luke McGall in 2nd, 3rd for Archie Cannon, but Ryan White and Ricky Junior McIntosh get past Sebastian Burlington on that last lap for 4th, 5th and 6th respectively. Shailen Srikantan in 7th, Charlie Gregg in 8th ahead of Peter Webster and Charlie Quine, rounding out your top 10 for that first heat of the day in Honda Cadets. Well, that had plenty of action, didn't it? As always, the Honda Cadets deliver. That was the first time we'll see them today. Obviously, they'll be back for Heat 2 and then the all-important trophy final later on. Next then, it will be Heat number 1 for another one of our classes. In this case, it shall be Micromax. Looking at the dummy grid then for Micromax, and just to confirm, it is just Micromax. We do not have IAME Waterswift restricted here today, as the Stinger may have just suggested, just to be absolutely clear. Let's take a look at the grids then for your first heat of Micromax, how they lined up off the back of qualifying. Alfie Garrett will lead them away for this one with the number 96 of Ansel alongside. LBJ Stubbs and Logan Stanley Jones are your second row, ahead of Ethan Lloyd and Freddie Blackshaw on row number 3. Row 4 is where we will find Elsie Gannon and Xavier Ramsey. Toby Cannon and Isla Parsons are on row 5, with Daniel Stangerine and Mason Munter on row number 6. Row 7 of this 14-kart grid is occupied by Jensen Darlow and Frank Morris in the number 35. That's how they line up for the first heat of the day here for Micromax for round 8 of the 2024 Rally Replay SuperOne Series. Do hope you're enjoying the early proceedings here of racing action. Don't forget, if you've not seen much of SuperOne so far this year, you can go back and enjoy the broadcasts from all of the even-numbered rounds. Just to be clear, each race meeting features a round on a Saturday and a round on a Sunday. And as it stands, we record interviews with the winning drivers on the Saturday rounds, and then we bring you the live broadcasted coverage courtesy of Alpha Live on the Sunday. So you can go back and enjoy rounds 2, 4 and 6 on the Alpha Live YouTube channel. There's a 2024 Rally Replay SuperOne Series playlist, and you can go through and enjoy all of the racing action that we've had so far on the Sundays this year. And my goodness, we've had plenty of that. Alfie Garrett then getting ready to lead them away on this one. And it was a clean sweep for Alfie yesterday. Took both heat wins and the finals. So he's definitely the young man to beat here in Micromax. Here we go then, eyes on the lights, and away we go for 7 minutes of racing plus a lap. Alfie Garrett leads them away in the number 42 as they all stream down towards the hairpin for the first time. 3 wide, even 4 wide for second place. Who's going to come through on top for that one? I think it is still Ansel in the number 96, who's retained second place amongst all that pressure as they head down towards the second chicane. This is the one lap, though, where it isn't technically the second chicane, of course, because they missed the first on the first lap of each race. Through the sweeper at turn number 5. And into turn 6 at the bottom of the lap. What a bit of a moment there, I think, for Jensen Darlow, which may open the door for Frank Morris in the battle over 13th place as they come through the boot section here and through the left-hander to finish the lap. Alfie Garrett then did indeed get a great start to retain the lead at the end of lap number 1. Ansel held on to second, Ethan Lloyd up into third, and that's because it was a costly first lap for LBJ Stubbs, down to 5th place, still very much in the fight. There is Xavier Ramsey on the tail of Freddie Blackshaw. Here we're seeing Toby Cannon in the 17 you just saw there turning in. Number 50 there is Isla Parsons trying to chase down LBJ Stubbs. Ansel's starting to apply pressure now to Alfie Garrett at the head of this field. His top 2 just breaking away slightly from the likes of Lloyd, Jones and Stubbs in 3rd, 4th and 5th. Onto a new lap then, into the chicane. And does Ansel see fit to work together for now, just to pull out a bit of a gap and let the others battle behind? There is the pack battling over 3rd place. Ethan Lloyd in the 66 leads it at the moment. You can see Logan Stanley Jones thinking about having a look at LBJ Stubbs. And indeed, that's a move. No, he's not, because LBJ Stubbs is through there. That is a change for 3rd place. So Stubbs through on Lloyd. And now Lloyd, if anything, is under pressure from Jones. The 66 being pressured by the 73, that is. And that's going to give LBJ Stubbs, having taken that third place, an opportunity to get a bit of breathing space. So brilliant lap there for LBJ Stubbs. Got third place and has pulled out a bit of a gap. Fastest lap of the race from Alfie Garrett. A 51.286. Just to try and throw the gauntlet down to Ansel behind him. Once more heading towards the chicane, and there's a little bit of contact. Was that? I think it was Toby Cannon and Elsie Gannon in this part of the pack. Excuse me, no, it was Isla Parsons, wasn't it? Because we've had a bit of a change there. I think Toby Cannon's got by on Isla, and that meant that Isla Parsons and Elsie Gannon were battling through that second chicane. Here's that battle for third again. LBJ Stubbs still leading Ethan Lloyd and Logan Stanley Jones in that battle. And Logan Stanley Jones pulls to the inside here to have a look maybe into the first chicane, but thinks better of it for now, as Alfie Garrett sets another fastest lap of the race. I have to say though, Ansel is getting quicker too. It's only 55 thousandths difference between those two on the last lap. So they're both putting in fantastic pace, and although Alfie Garrett is setting successive fastest laps, Ansel is staying with him to apply that pressure for the lead. Another little look there by Logan Stanley Jones, trying to find any which way by on the number 66 of Ethan Lloyd, but Lloyd was wise to it, positioning his kart well at the moment to put off a move. It's all allowing LBJ Stubbs to get a little further on up the road ahead of them. On to lap number 6 then for these two. Once again, Logan Stanley Jones has a look to the inside. He's further alongside this time, but still can't quite make that move. It's a difficult one there into the chicane, and I did mention at the top of the stream, old school track, difficult to make the move, but there is a look into turn 2. And I thought that was on then for Logan Stanley Jones. That was a very nice look to the inside, but just couldn't hook up the second phase of that corner, or perhaps more accurately, Ethan Lloyd was able to get good grip in the second phase of that corner. LBJ Stubbs going through. Then that's Toby Cannon, and then comes the battle of Isla Parsons. Freddie Blackshaw it is now ahead of Elsie Gannon. That switched positions last lap, so 8th place now occupied by the 28 of Blackshaw, with Elsie Gannon in the number 99 in 9th place. Xavier Ramsey rounds out the top 10 as well as part of that battle. There is Isla Parsons turning in that number 50 kart. Freddie Blackshaw behind. Blackshaw looking to the inside and down the inside at turn 2. Elsie Gannon in the 99 is immediately on the rear bumper of Parsons to try and see if there's a way through for her, and goes for it into chicane 2. And that's a nice move there by Elsie Gannon. That's up into 8th place now. Through that battle just coming onto screen then, I believe, was Daniel Stangerine and Mason Munzer. That's the battle over 11th place. Plenty of battles going on here in Micromax for Heat 1 of round 8. Fastest lap of the race, from Ansel there in the number 96. As I say, the top two, very similar pace, keeping each other very honest. There's some 3 seconds up the road from that third place battle we saw headed by LBJ Stubbs a few laps ago. Into chicane 2 comes the battle over 8th place. Into the turn 6 hairpin. Always fascinating to see the very different lines that drivers are taking in these trains of karts to try and find a little bit of an advantage on corner exit. 2 more laps to go then of this one. As Elsie Gannon leads the battle over 8th place through. Ahead is Freddie Blackshaw beginning to apply pressure to Toby Cannon. And was there a moment there for Logan Stanley Jones did we just see? I think a slight excursion from the track then, if I'm not mistaken. This is Toby Cannon leading Freddie Blackshaw into the boot section and then further up the road. Yeah, there is something that happened there, isn't there? Ethan Lloyd's now ahead of LBJ Stubbs. So maybe it was LBJ Stubbs, who had a bit of a drama there. Last lap board is out though. Here is Alfie Garrett leading Ansel down the back straight. Yeah, I think, yeah, it is LBJ Stubbs. Had a moment on that lap, definitely. Lost a couple of seconds time-wise. So yeah, Ethan Lloyd has inherited third place. The 66 now ahead of the 19. But here is Alfie Garrett, who took a clean sweep of wins yesterday, and unless there's an amazing move from Ansel in the last few corners, and fair play to Ansel, he's kept Alfie very honest, but I don't think it's going to be enough to prevent another win for Alfie Garrett, who crosses the line to win Heat 1 in Micromax. Ansel follows him home in second. It is Ethan Lloyd who is going to cross the line in third. LBJ Stubbs, I think, had some kind of drama on that penultimate lap. Logan Stanley Jones in fifth. Freddie Blackshaw gets by on Toby Cannon in the last lap there, ahead of Alcy Gannon in eighth. Ninth for Isla Parsons. Xavier Ramsey in 10th. Then it was Daniel Stangerine, Mason Munzer, Jensen Darlow and Frank Morris to round out the 14 karts finishing that one. That's how they finished in Micromax. Well done to Alfie Garrett on that win. It'll be your first heat in IAME M1 next here on Alpha Live broadcast. Here at Fulbeck Kart Circuit then for round 8 of the 2024 Rally Replay SuperOne Series. It's our first heat for IAME M1 class coming up now. Always a healthy grid. Let's take you through it. Bodie Batch takes this one from pole. Freddie Baker alongside. Ralph Martin, who took the trophy win here yesterday in round 7, is lining up on third on the grid. Patrick Wood alongside. Leo Harang and Buster Scott are on row 3. Row 4 is where we'll find Oliver Woodall. I'll say as well, congratulations to Oliver for new baby brother who arrived recently coming into this weekend. Congratulations to him and all of the family. Ethan Holm alongside on row 4. Presley Knight and Logan Edwards on row number 5. Then it's Jensen James Williams and Noah Myberg. Ollie West and Freddie Dye are row 7. Heath Smith and Nicholas Ansar are next ahead of Teddy Smith and Charlie Holmes. Then it's Daniel Genoff and Ava Garrett, Archie Ashworth and Max Joy on row 11, Hugh Riley and Harley Bebb round out a 24-car grid for IAME M1, heat number 1. And we are ready to go with our standing start, remember, for IAMEs. And remember as well that they will miss out that first chicane. Away we go then for 7 minutes plus a lap of racing. Bodie Batch leads them away in the number 88. Looks like a fairly even start from them. Actually, in fact, Bodie Batch pulling away in the second phase of this. It looks to me like Ralph Martin may have got the better of Freddie Baker, although Freddie Baker coming back at him as they head into the hairpin for the first time in IAME M1. And we've got a stationary car there. It's the number 13 of Daniel Genov who's having problems there, so gutting for him. That's not the start to today's campaign he would have wanted. But it is Bodie Batch in the number 88 who leads them through turn number 5 of this first lap. We could see The 95 of Harley Bev looks to me has made up a few early positions there from the back of the grid. Looking towards the boot section. And it is still Batch, Baker and Martin, your top three by the looks of it. There you can see Genov on the dummy grid there having issues. It's unfortunate for him. Hopefully we'll see him come back in Heat 2 later on, and indeed the final. Coming out of chicane number one, excuse me, and into hairpin 2. That was Freddie Dye, Ethan Holm and Ollie West were the three drivers we were looking at battling away there. There is Noah Myberg challenging Ollie West. Ollie West is your driver in the 24, Noah Myberg in the number 27. Ahead of them is this battle between Freddie Dye and Ethan Holm, the 17 and the 11. Through the boot section then here, this is your top three. And actually Freddie Baker and Ralph Martin have worked well here to bring Bodie Batch into striking distance again, because Bodie Batch, make no mistake, had a brilliant opening lap to pull away from them. And Ralph Martin challenging Freddie Baker through the first chicane. That's going to be a costly moment though, because he's going to be put out to pasture on the grass a little bit there and has to come back onto the circuit. Has lost a lot of time there, although so too has Freddie Baker. So a lot of the good work they did on lap 2 undone at the start of lap number 3. That gives Bodie Batch some breathing space. It gives some opportunity to a driver we've not mentioned too much yet so far, which is Patrick Wood there in the number 36. There he is. And then here is the battle between Leo Harang and Oliver Woodall. That's over 5th place. And then there's Buster Scott, and then a bit of a gap back to Freddie Dye and Ethan Holm and Noah Myberg to round out the top 10. Leo Harang here in the number 57. Oliver Woodall in his wheel tracks, but probably a little bit too far back to try and I think into chicane number 1. Woodall using all of the curbs there on the chicane. Fastest lap of the race from Bodie Batch in that number 88, trying to maximise the opportunity he was gifted a lap ago by Freddie Baker and Ralph Martin. Through goes this battle for 5th place between Harang and Woodall. Turn 6, very different lines there, much tighter apex in the latter half of the corner from Woodall. Does that open up any opportunities into this boot section? For these young drivers, I do reiterate what I was saying earlier. This is a tough track to execute the pass on. You might gain an advantage on a corner exit, but can you do anything with it down the next straight and for the next corner? One place we have seen overtakes already today is into this turn 2 hairpin. The chicanes can be quite difficult. You might theoretically be able to take someone on braking, but you're going to compromise your pace through the rest of the chicane. This sweeper at 5 is extremely difficult to execute a pass. Dive bombs into the turn 6 hairpin here that they're going into though. Those can be possible. And then if you're alongside enough, you can get a pass on into this boot section, but otherwise it's quite difficult with the left and then the immediate 2 rights. It's a tough place to get a pass done. Make no mistake about that. But no doubt Woodall is going to try his best here as he applies the pressure. Another fastest lap of the race for Bodie Batch, a 56.992. He is now 1.3 seconds to the good over Freddie Baker, who in turn is 1.2 seconds ahead of Ralph Martin. Then is Patrick Wood. And then it's the 2 that we're looking at right now. Leo Harang in the number 57, Oliver Woodall, and there is the attempt for the move into chicane 2, and that was beautifully done. I said it was hard to pass around here, but if there is a textbook way to pass into chicane 2, Oliver Woodall just showed you all how. That was a beautiful move. And Oliver Woodall in the 41 takes up 5th place. Now, what sort of pace does he have at this point? It's quite a gap they would have to close up to Patrick Wood. And there's not too much longer of this one to go. That was a lovely, tidy move from Oliver Woodall. Does Harang have a counter-attack in the tank? He's definitely been on pace with Woodall throughout this race. There is Buster Scott, having a fairly quiet one, but still on for some good points. And then here is the battle over 8th. Holm, Myberg, and Williams. That is Ethan Holm, Noah Myberg, and Jensen James Williams, to be precise, and side by side between Myberg and Williams. But Myberg's going to hold on to it in the 27, but that was a great little attack from Jensen James Williams there. Ethan Holm gets a bit of a breathing space as a result. Breathing space here meaning, maybe half a kart length extra of breathing space, such is the competitive nature of this IAME M1 class. Two more laps they'll have to go after this one that they're on now. So as they come on to the penultimate lap, and that's a little look, was it, from, is this, this is that Harang got back through. I think we were seeing the tail end of a move there. Harang had got through a Woodall, and Woodall's now counter-attacking back again, side by side into chicane 2. This is where Woodall originally got through. And there's some traffic to navigate as well. That's Archie Ashworth. Bit of an old Spa-style move there, and the battle carries on between Harang and Woodall. This is a fantastic little fight between these two drivers. Harang with a nice move to get back past. They're still side by side. Woodall, though, will be on the outside, and he makes that one stick. So Woodall has held off Harang after a lap-long challenge there from Leo Harang, but this was where Harang was strong a lap ago. He pulls alongside once again, and again Harang is through at chicane number 1. And we've got a kart off at the second chicane, we're hearing. There's an incident at the second chicane, and red flag I can see out the window is going out here. So the drivers will be backing off, and there you can just see some of the karts off. So a pause to proceedings here. I will double check my regulations, but I think that was called late in the race proceedings, such that it will be called race end, and there indeed is the checkered flag being shown. So race will be ended regrettably under red flag. I think there's 3 karts that I've seen involved in the incident there at chicane 2. So we'll just keep tabs on that. Marshall's on the scene just to help the drivers there. You can see here the karts being brought to a stop. Is Bodie Batch still your leader there? And they're going to be directed into pit entry here. So the drivers who were involved in that incident just getting assistance at chicane 2. So obviously I'm not going to start speculating in a situation like this. I'm told that one of the karts involved was the 21. That's Logan Edwards. Now Logan was running in 13th place. There was a battle going on for 12th place at the time. That was the drivers who were battling for 12th at that point were the likes of Freddie Dye, Logan Edwards, Teddy Smith, Nicholas Answer. They were all part of a pack there. Those are not confirmed as the drivers involved in that incident at chicane 2. Bear in mind, we did see the battle for 5th, didn't we? Navigating some drivers who were a lap down. So we don't know that for certain at this point. The drivers just getting a bit of assistance there at the second chicane. So there is going to be a pause here. These on screen right now, I really want to stress, are provisional. Okay, Bodie Batch your race winner there. Not in the circumstances we like to see, but had definitely controlled that race really nicely. Freddie Baker in second and Ralph Martin in third. Patrick Wood and Oliver Woodall in fourth and fifth. Leo Harang in sixth. Buster Scott in seventh. Noah Myberg eighth. Ninth for Ethan Holm. And Jensen James Williams in 10th. These are all provisional, of course, just whilst we wait for things to be sorted out with the red flag, both in terms of the attention to the actual incident and the drivers involved itself and themselves, but also just in terms of the rules, how we're going to count back in that situation. Some ominous clouds rolling in over the circuit here as we're just under red flag. This is for an incident that happened on the penultimate lap, it would have been, of Heat 1 of the IAME M1 class. You can see there one of the course cars has already gone onto the scene. You can just see it there on the left of the shot down at chicane 2, just to make sure that everyone's okay. I can see, just from my position, I don't have full visibility of the incident. I can see that another kart that was involved there was the 42 of Ava Garrett, which stands to reason because she was in roughly the same part of the pack as Logan Edwards, which is the other kart that we have had visual confirmation is one of the karts just being recovered and one of the drivers being attended to there down at chicane 2. So we are just going to have a small pause here in proceedings just whilst we make sure that the drivers are okay. I will say that from my comms position I can see Ava Garrett on her own feet and indeed getting back into the seat of her kart so as to assist in its recovery. So she is fundamentally okay. As I say, though, we're only going to report on what we know here. In fact, I can see Ava Garrett is piloting her kart back. There she is, piloting her kart back. But yeah, I think she was one of the drivers in the tyres there at chicane 2. Obviously a fast approach speed. Short, sharp stab of the brakes and then turn in at that chicane 2. We're just going to have a bit of a pause here in proceedings before we get going again. When they do get going, I'm fairly sure that it will be a case of moving on to the first heat for Rotax 177. But right now the focus is just on making sure that all of the drivers down at chicane 2 are okay. And we'll let you know as soon as we have confirmation of that. Do stay with us here on your Alpha Live broadcast of round 8 of the Rally Replay SuperOne Series. Just to confirm then, had a slight pause there off the back of a red flag. We saw an incident involving a few karts in the tail end of the IAME M1 Heat there. It was at chicane 2 here at Fulbeck, and the understanding up here is that the only driver who needed the attention of that course car to come out to them, make sure that they were okay after making contact with the tyres, was Ava Garrett. There are no other karts or drivers. Did mention that Logan Edwards had been involved in that incident as well, the number 21 kart, but as far as we are aware, he was already recovered or in the process of being recovered when that course car went out there. So as far as we are aware, with seeing Ava Garrett there piloting her kart back a moment ago. That's all drivers who were in any way of concern under that red flag A-OK. So just to confirm there, not how we like to end a race, but it looks like everyone involved fundamentally okay, and hopefully we'll see them all back out on track later on. Here though, we're getting ready for our next Heat 1 race of the day. That is for Rotax 177 class. Let's take you through the grid then for Heat 1 of Rotax 177 for round 8. Luke Oliver will lead them away from pole position. Nathan Chafer, your trophy final winner from yesterday, starts alongside. Shane Collins and Rhys Llewellyn are on row number 2. Ian Bramfield and Stephen Horner are on row number 3. And then on row 4 we'll find Zach Bolton and Scott Smith. Ben Johnson and Will Milner are next, with Tim Darlow and Mark Gillibrand on row 6. Rounding out the 13-kart grid is the number 4 of Andy Ward. That's how they line up for this Rotax 177 Heat 1 race. Getting into some of our older and more mature drivers is how I will diplomatically call it in the running order here today. But as I say, if you just took a little break then from the broadcast, we did have a red flag at the end of IAME M1. As far as we are aware, all drivers A-OK off the back of that incident, but there was cause for a red flag just to make sure that all drivers were OK, in particular Ava Garrett. But we did see her getting back into her kart and piloting it back to the pit lane. So, and we saw the course car come out to assist there. No drivers were recovered in that course car. No drivers needed to be recovered in that medical car. So as far as we know, things okay off the back of that red flag, as much as we don't like to see it. Luke Oliver then in the number 97 will lead this one away for 7 minutes plus a lap of racing around this 940 metre ribbon of racing in the Lincolnshire countryside. Drivers getting ready for it to kick off, and kick off it does. Away we go then for racing. Great start by Luke Oliver, and I can see already that Shane Collins is challenging Nathan Chafer for second place. It's a good start from the pole side of the grid, but Chafer will try and hang it around the outside in that number 37, but I don't think he's managed to make it stick as they come through towards chicane 2 for the first time. It is still Luke Oliver in the lead, and it is indeed Shane Collins who has been able to take second place. The Manx driver now behind Luke Oliver as they stream through the last sector for the first time. Through the final corner then for lap 1. At the end thereof, it is Luke Oliver who leads. Nathan Chafer did get second place back from Shane Collins, but in the latter half of the lap he had to fight for it to get it back. Then it's Rhys Llewellyn in 4th and Ian Bramfield to round out the top 5. Towards chicane 2 though, you can see Nathan Chafer here still under pressure from Shane Collins. Shane Collins is in that 52. Then comes the likes of Llewellyn, Bramfield, Horner and Bolton. They're really still quite close together. Not too much field spread here in Rotax 177, as is, I have to say, fairly normal to not see much field spread. Experienced drivers as they are. Fastest lap of the race from Nathan Chafer, trying to get rid of Shane Collins off his tail and apply the pressure to the race leader if at all possible. To be clear, your championship leader coming into today is Scott Smith, who's notably not taken to the grid. I know we mentioned him on the grid graphic, but he has not taken the start, so some kind of issue perhaps preventing Scott Smith from contesting this first race. Second in the championship is Shane Collins though, and he currently sits in 3rd place. We're looking there at Shane Collins being chased by Rhys Llewellyn and Ian Bramfield, starting to ramp up pressure there. In fact, relatively equidistant between our top 5 at the moment. Luke Oliver with a little bit more breathing space out front. There is Shane Collins with the pink and white detail car. Then is Rhys Llewellyn here in the black helmet, a black suit with yellow highlights. The red suited driver behind him is Ian Bramfield in the 46. Into the boot section they go then. A lot of pressure now being brought to bear by Ian Bramfield on Rhys Llewellyn, but he might decide to hold station for now, try and work together to get on up the road and challenge Shane Collins, who's just had a personal best lap and has actually pulled out a bit of a gap now after he was under quite a bit of pressure last lap. Who is on the move though is Nathan Chafer, another fastest lap of the race, trying to turn the screws up on Luke Oliver. Looking a bit further down the order, this is Will Milner and Tim Darlow. Excuse me, no it's not, it's Will Milner ahead of Zach Bolton. That is a change of position. 7th place taken by Milner on this lap. Back to Bramfield, and then we look back here, this is the change of position this lap then. The 49 now ahead of the 69. Confirmed now on your timing tower, Will Milner ahead of Zach Bolton. Don't forget, live.alphatiming.co.uk and click on SuperOne for the enhanced live timing over and above what you've got with the timing tower on the left-hand side. If you have a spare screen or device, you can supplement your viewing experience by going there, live.alphatiming.co.uk. Click on SuperOne. You'll be able to see a track map of where all the drivers are, as well as any announcements from race control, as well as weather conditions. Weather conditions, by the way, at the moment, not looking like rain is in any way imminent. We've got a bluer patch of sky now over the circuit. Here is your battle for the lead, though. Nathan Chafer has been working hard to chip away at the lead that Luke Oliver attained for himself over the first couple of laps. Another fastest lap of the race confirms it. Real pressure being brought to bear. Quick look over the shoulder from Luke Oliver. Where is the threat coming from? We know that Chafer has good pace. He took that trophy win yesterday. And there he goes. There's the dive into turn 6. Beautiful move. That was a textbook move there from Nathan Chafer, but from quite a long way back. And I would say, well, I'm going to say that's move of the day so far for me. That was beautifully done by Nathan Chafer. Spoke to him yesterday. Local track. And he clearly knows, as a result of that, where to go on the attack. Has Luke Oliver got anything by way of an answer to that? He's going to try and stay with him. We know he's had good pace. Further down the order, Ben Johnson has got by on Mark Ginnebrand. That's for 10th place. 61 now ahead of the 18. As the pack streams out of turn number 6. On to the start-finish straight then again to start. It's either going to be the penultimate or the anti-penultimate lap, actually. They're probably going to get 3 in, such is the pace of this Rotax 177 class. You can hear how much they're pushing as they come through turn 2. Into chicane 2. Luke Oliver definitely staying with Chafer here, keeping him honest. It's not over yet by any stretch of the imagination. Out of turn 6 they come. It's spread out a little bit there in the Shane Collins, Rhys Llewellyn and Ian Bramfield battle. Bramfield is no longer putting as much pressure on the tail of Rhys Llewellyn. But sometimes drivers can just have, I know it sounds a bit strange, but you could have a bit of a break for a lap before putting in a final charge towards the end. We're on the penultimate lap now, as Nathan Chafer throws the kart into turn number 2. Through chicane 2 they go. CRG chassised kart of Chafer, the red speed that Luke Oliver is piloting. Through the last corner of this one then, he'll see the last lap board this time. Has Luke Oliver got any challenge in the tank for Nathan Chafer? Zach Bolton and Will Milner are still battling away, by the way. That's over 7th place. Or has it? No, something's happened to Will Milner. He's dropped down the order now. So some drama has befallen Will Milner in the number 49, possibly as part of that battle that he was in, because he's now down to 11th place. I'm being reported that, I'm having it reported to me that it may have been a spin in the final corner. That's a costly moment for Will Milner. Meanwhile, though, Nathan Chafer, courtesy of a beautiful move into turn 6 a few laps ago, is going to come round to take the win for Rotax 177 in heat number 1. Luke Oliver comes home to back some good points in second, ahead of Shane Collins in third, Reece Llewellyn in fourth, Ian Bramfield in fifth, Stephen Horner in sixth. Then there is Zach Bolton to claim seventh, ahead of Tim Darlow, Ben Johnson in ninth, Mark Gillibrand in 10th. And then Will Milner we expect to come through, and as indeed he does, just ahead of Andy Ward after some drama for him on the penultimate lap, which put him down there. Nonetheless, highly entertaining and frenetic action there from our Rotax 177s. There is your provisional result, results.alphatime.co.uk. Click on SuperOne for all of the confirmed results. That's how they finish Heat 1 for Rotax 177. It will be Heat 1 for Junior Max up next on your Alpha Live broadcast of Round 8 of Rally Replay SuperOne 24.